Hello everybody, we are at the Warrior Project here in Fayetteville, Tennessee, and I'm Don Counts, and we have Miss Linda Williams. Linda, tell us who we have today.
We have Miss Sandy Cooper. Sandy is very active in our veterans organization. She is, of course, a veteran here who lives in Lincoln County, and we are tickled to have you today, Sandy.
Thank you.
Sandy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I come from New York and I moved here in 2011. I am the chaplain for the American Legion, and I joined the service at the age, well, the cutoff was 30, a week before I turned 30. I joined the service to better my life. I had four young children, and as I said, I wanted to better my life. And I became a bioenvironmental engineer with the 109th Tactical Unit in Schenectady, New York.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, I started basic training at Fort Dix, or not, excuse me, in Texas. And I was away from home for about a year. The bio class took almost a year. I did my training there in Texas, and then from there I went to the hospital at Griffiths. So it took me about a year to learn all the hospital side. It was a new shop for bioengineer. They didn't have, the state decided they needed people in that field. So it took about a year to learn the field, and you had to learn the hospital side and you had to learn the occupational side. So I was away for quite a while, and then I went back home and started to work at the hospital there at the 109th. And from there, I started to be sent out to, I was sent to Germany a few times. We did missions in Honduras. We did 18 days in Honduras. That was a mission to help people that were very poor. We had to be flown in there in Honduras. The people walked for 3 days, most of them. They came there, and we brought medical supplies. We had dentists. The surprising part was they didn't even have toilet paper, those people. They came with no shoes, and the people wanted their teeth pulled out. They thought it was just, you realize what we had at home. The young kids wanted to line up to have their teeth pulled out, and they just wanted needles. They didn't know what they wanted them for, but it was a sad situation. But they brought their animals. They brought their chickens hanging from their necks in their hands to get their horses and chickens shots and their cows shot. But we were there 2 weeks doing that kind of work. So that was something to learn. Our missions. That was our missions, to do good and help others. So we did a lot of missions like that. My job was to go out and do a lot of inspections. I did a lot of inspections like in Germany. I inspect the bases, the homes. I'd be on top of the airplanes, checking the airplanes, looking for bugs, looking whatever you needed, anything that for men, anything a man or woman that would affect man or woman, I was there to check, look for. If you had any disease, you would come and see me. I would have to take care of that also. But it was the most wonderful time of my life. I would go back and do it all over. And then when it came to Desert Storm, I did 11 months for Desert Storm. I backed up McDill. After I did about I say 9 years as a bio. I became a hospital administration. I switched fields because my field went full time, and I already had 10 years at the state, and I needed to stay there for my retirement. So I switched over to admin. And when it came to Desert Storm, they needed someone at MacDill. So I backed up MacDill for 11 months. And that was a great experience also. And that's where I went for, which you know, that's where Schwartzwinger was. We backed his group up. We had a couple bad cases there, measles. A lot of people came down with measles, so we had tents sitting outside. But I ran the outpatient records there, and I had some wonderful times there, and you couldn't ask for a better group of people that I worked with at the 109th. You couldn't ask for a better. We were treated wonderful. Our group and our commanders, we were treated with respect. The women there, we were all treated with respect. You couldn't ask for a better group, and to this day, the people that I worked with back in New York constantly are in contact with me and let me know that they're still thinking about me.
Seemed like you were helping a lot of people in this
Yeah.
process.
That was our mission.
Now, what is biotech? What was your actual job when you started out?
Bioenvironmental Engineer. If, say there's a spill, an oil spill, that was my job to go out there. Say, well, an attack. If we had a gas attack, I'm the first one in before you send people in. That would have been my job, the first to go in and check to make sure it was safe. Then the troops would go in. And the hospital side is someone came down with herpes. That was my job. I would have to find out who all the contacts were, where you were, make sure they had their shots, follow them up, follow the people up, whoever had it on that side of the house. And that was my side on that side. No matter what affected man, if it didn't matter if they had a toothache, if something happened, I had to be notified.
Wow.
If the airplanes came in, I had to go out and make sure that there was no bugs on it, that the people didn't bring anything in that shouldn't have been in, anything like that, anything that could cause problems.
Wow. How many years were you in the service?
Pardon me?
How many years do you have in the service?
I had 12 and a half, and the only reason that I had to get out is I was a supervisor, and after Desert Storm, right after Desert Storm, I didn't even get back, I was only back to work one day when I had a car accident coming home.
Oh, no.
So that was the end of my career. I had a head injury, and it ended my career. And they found out, the service found out when they sent me to Honduras. I had some not Honduras, one of the other places. Can't remember which, it was out of the country anyway. I had trouble finding my way from the barracks. I had a head injury, and being the supervisor, I had to have one of my guys go with me, and they found out, so I had to give up my service. But I had kept it pretty quiet until then.
Now, did you use your service knowledge, what you learned in the service? Did you work anywhere after that using what you learned in the service?
I was done working, period. With the head injury, I couldn't work at all.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I also did hearing, I was a hearing conservationist in the service also. I did your hearing. Everything that you could think of. There was only me, as I was the new one. Now, when I took over after they made it full time because it was such a big field. They made it 2 houses. One was the bio side and one was the hospital. It got so big that one person couldn't do it. That is a big field today. That was a whole new field. I was the first one in the guards. It was a whole new field.
Wow.
But it's a big field today.
Now, did you have experiences in the service that because you were a female, you were treated differently than you did than a man would have been? Or did you not run across any of that?
No. Our guys were as well and took care of each other. You wouldn't know any difference.
That's awesome.
You couldn't ask for a better group of people. Everybody looked out for each other, no matter what. When we went on a TDY, everybody looked out for each other. Everybody was accounted for at all times.
Now tell us about your TDY experiences. Where did you get to go on TDYs?
Well, Germany, Honduras,
Okay.
England. We were all over, quite a few times to Germany. That was pretty well because they need bioengineers there, so I pretty well went there quite often.
Okay, you said when you went in that you had 3 small children?
4.
Four small children. How does that work in the military when you go in and you have children? Did your parents keep them, or how does that work? I don't have any idea.
No, I had to sign them over. The rights to in case something happened to me, I had to sign them over, which I did, to my parents. But I had to hire a sitter. I had a home, and I rented out my home because I was gone almost a year. So I rented out my home, and I had to hire a sitter.
That lived there with your children?
Children, yes, the full
And
time.
what ages were they at that time?
10, 11, 12, and 13.
That had
It
to
was
be
pretty
hard.
rough on the
Yeah,
kids.
yeah,
Pretty rough
it
on the
would have to
kids.
have been. And you too.
Yes, I remember crying quite a bit in boot camp. I had never been away from my children, but as I say, I wanted a better life. I was by myself, and I wanted a better life for the children. And I did, because I had 2 children follow my footsteps, and one retired from the service and still doing the military. And then I had a girl go into the CIA, which she was in the military and then came out and went in the CIA. So, and they all did well. So, and I know it was from
Yes.
their learning experience to take care of themselves, and they did well, and it was the military,
Wow. Do you advise young people today to go into the service?
I always
Young
did.
women.
I think it should be like it is in Italy. Every child should serve the military. It teaches so much. Even though I was 30, I learned a lot. You learn respect, even, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's physical, it wasn't easy, but you learn a lot.
Tell us a little bit more about Desert Storm. What was it like over there for the people who may be watching?
I wasn't in Desert Storm. My son was. At the same time I was at MacDill, my son was over in Desert Storm.
MacDill is in Texas,
No, MacDill is Florida.
Florida. Okay.
I backed up the hospital. They had to send out their troops to Afghanistan, and I backfilled their hospital.
Okay.
Schwarzenegger's group. I backed up the hospital there. As they got wounded, they were sent back there, and so that's where I was. But my son was, at the same time I was there, he was in Afghanistan. But it was rough over there for him.
Yeah.
He did 2 tours over there.
What did he do over there?
He was a helicopter electrician, so he was up in the helicopters. He went with the helicopters.
I think it's so cool that people that serve in the military, a lot of them can come out with the knowledge they acquired in the military and go to work in that same field. I mean, you can get an education, there's just so much you can do. And I'm kind of like you. I think every young person should have to serve, male and female.
Yes, my son is still working as a civilian up at the, what's it here in Alabama. Of course, he's working from home, but he's still working in logistics. They're building a new helicopter, and he's ahead of that.
Wow.
And, you know, they're building a brand new helicopter. And that's what he does. But that's all comes out from him going in at 17 and joining and coming out at 30 some years old, and
With a retirement.
And
can
retirement.
go do another job.
and he's got another,
Yeah.
that's a second retirement plus his bed. He's going to be well off.
Yeah.
I think it's the most wonderful thing you can do is work for the military. It's something to be proud of, the children today. If they, I'm so proud of the kids that go in today. You know, something to
I
be
used
proud
to tell
of.
all my kids at school that was a smart thing to do, especially if you don't have the money for an education, you can get that education in the service.
Many people do. My
Yes.
niece became a RN. She was in Afghanistan, but that's how she got her. She became an RN, and then she just retired after 30 years in the military. She's a colonel, and she works at the hospital, but that's how she got hers. And she's got a beautiful retirement from the service, plus now the hospital.
Tell
It's a
us about
wonderful.
Tell us about your involvement in working with the veterans organizations and how important that is.
Well, I've been with the veterans for, oh God, about 25, 30 years. I held a position as almost all the positions so far, but I found it very rewarding. And we need more people. There's so many people out there that need help, but it's very rewarding, and we do need people to help us. We definitely need help, but like I said, there's people out there that need help, and that's what we're here for, is to help these veterans. There's people that can't get out of their homes. There's people that need food, and that's what the veterans are here to do.
How can you help them, or how do you help them?
Well, we put on rallies. We put on we try to put on dances. We have a dance here on Saturday night. The money we get, we put out to our veterans. Every cent we take in goes out to the veterans. We have a veteran that don't have gas money. We pay for that. They can't make a mortgage. We pay a mortgage.
Pay the electric bills,
Electric bills.
food at Christmas and Thanksgiving. They're wanting
Yes,
to do
we
baskets.
put a basket together at Thanksgiving time. Christmas is a big thing I do. I buy gifts for all our veterans in the different hospitals. I've been doing it for the last 10 years, is buy gifts, and I'm down to 17 in our community hospitals here. I have 17 vets that I buy gifts for and take over to the hospitals and the nursing homes. But that all comes out of all the different
fundraisers.
that we do.
You do the poppy sales.
Poppy sales, yes, that's a big thing, is our poppy sales, food sales, raffles.
It's good you help the veterans, and you're currently the chaplain. Tell about that.
I've been the chaplain for the last 3 years, and my duties are to send out, find out who's sick, send out cards, whatever chaplain's duties, try to keep up with the people that are sick in the community.
We appreciate your service. You have anything else?
No, I think that you've done wonderful.
I appreciate you asking me to come.
Thank you very much.
And I do hope we get some more people to join our American Legion and our VFW.
And if they want to join, what do they need to do?
Just contact any one of us at the American Legion here in Fayetteville.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your service.
Thank you.